right. Well, sorry for being a couple of minutes late. Better late than never, right? What's up,
Yes.
Rob? How you
Yep. We're
doing?
good to go.
What's up, bud? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Nah, not bad. Let's see what
Ginger.
happens today. It is early. At least
Yes.
there was
Yep.
no technical problems this time.
No, we did it for once.
I
And
know,
granted,
right?
this is only the second time, but still, we did it.
Yeah, better late than never. So what's the good, guys? How y'all doing? Usual stuff. Me and Rob shooting the shit. So let's get into it. See how that goes. What up, P man? Um, NXT was awesome this week. What do you think, Rob, about that?
I really enjoyed it. Watching both shows. I I would give the edge to. It was a great show. Just out of the two shows that went, I'd lean more towards AEW that week or this past week. But overall, they always put on a good show. So, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, what do you think about the era of the limitless Keith Lee starting out?
Uh, I would. I'm more anxious to see what he does. The start. I think I'm like everybody else. I'm kind of still shocked by it. Just seeing that Adam Cole lost the title is still kind of weird to me, but I'm all for it. I think he's going to be great champion. So it started out okay, and we'll see where it goes. I think.
Yeah, let us know if you guys can hear us pretty good and see us, because second time this always happens. uh, for me, the PC era screaming about basking in his glory, and the entire thing was pretty good. Him asking the ring announcer, that was pretty good too, about re-announcing him as the double champ. Says he's you know the entire locker room, which is kind of easy to understand. They want to go after him and want the same opportunities. He's not a self-made man. Talks about Tim Brooks, about his trainer.
Mhm.
But the interesting part of all this, besides him saying about the universe, was calling Dominic Dijak out, which I honestly am a wrestle fan from New England. I didn't know he was from Worcester, which is literally about 30 minutes away from Lowell. Um, but Dom says that it's about Lee, and you know they basically are frenemies, and they challenge each other, and that's the main event for the night. That and having them go at it the way they do and making it special is really good.
Oh yeah, they always put on amazing matches. Um, that they're two guys that if I was able to have a dream card for a pay per view, those two would have a match on it for sure.
I if this was a takeover, that match would be the main event, regardless whether the titles were there or not. What's up, Mr. Warren Hayes? We got Jeff and P Mac in there. What's up, Brian Payne, who always brings the pain. Speaking of pain, Grimes has been a pain in the butt, and according to Warren, it's Grimes times every time.
Ugh.
But the thing about it is, this match was pretty good. It could have been better, but it was mostly Priest in the match. He Grimes always talks about it trash. Priest was in full control for the moment. The double knee strikes was really brutal. Their commentary was on point, talking about how much Grimes talking trash. The kicks you know from Priest were really devastating. A couple of pins here and there. Priest kicks him out. It was probably about a 15-minute match altogether, just an estimate. But they were slugging out left and right, showing their strikes. The spot with the Razor's Edge on the apron was really, really good. Um, but pre-showing his martial arts background, hits a flatliner. Grimes kicks out for two. Um, Priest kicks out for a couple of pins. Grimes always talking about the trash. Hits the Reckoning off the second rope, which looked very deadly. Um, it's interesting to see what they do with Priest from here after all the stuff they did with him with Balor. So, what do you think's coming down the pike, though?
That's the thing. Like with Priest, I really don't know who he is going to go feud with because they the way they it seemed like they booked this for Priest and Grimes to kind of end their little feud. Um, so I don't know who they're going to go with next. As personally, I'd like to see Priest kind of maybe mess with somebody like Gargano would be good. I also wouldn't mind seeing him go against somebody in Undisputed, whether it's Roderick Strong, maybe. It doesn't really matter to me. I like what he does. As far as Grimes go, I don't like him that much, along with the stupid hat. But that's more of a shot at Warren.
Yeah, I figured considering he's in the room, so
Yeah. Sorry, Warren.
I don't think you're sorry about that.
Sorry, but not sorry. Yeah, that's true.
Um, I think where it comes from here, I think Priest is gonna go towards, like you said, probably Gargano, but Ciampa hasn't been on in a couple of weeks, so why not him and make that a little bit interesting? Two hard hitting styles.
Well,
Or even Thatcher. If once he's done with Oni, which is the next part coming right here, the catch cam, and he puts one of his students in the Fuji armbar, which is his finisher, and he makes references to Oni the entire time. But that was just one of those funny remarks where it's just like pointing every single thing that match was between Thatcher and Oni.
yeah, yep. And I'd be okay with seeing uh, Thatcher and Priest go at it. That'd be a good little feud too. I bet.
Well, the next part is the meme of last couple of weeks was Stone getting rolled over. It's Shotzi and Hartwell versus Hartwell. I mean, it was kind of like a short match, but in the gist of it, Aaliyah and Stone come out and just to stop Shotzi from getting all the stuff on here. She hit a couple of really good moves. The side slam by Hartwell was good. It was just really, really short for someone who has a lot of promise on their roster. Um, then they have Tegan come back out. Phantasma promo was pretty good. They mentioned about Drake doing the promo he did right after he got released about him crying and stuff. I thought that was just wrong. It was kind of weak to point out that he was, hurting after his dream job got taken away. So what do you think of? Did you see the Phantasma promo right there on NXT, or were you still watching AEW at that point?
No, I've watched both shows in full. It was. I don't really know how much longer they can go with this angle or this feud. Um, Phantasma, he just needs to move on from this in a hurry. I want to see who he can go feud with next. I'd kind of like to see him maybe in a feud with. It'd be kind of cool to see him and Finn Balor go at it, I think. But yeah, it's just one of those things. Just move on. The Drake thing, I kind of want to see who he goes against. I have a feeling he might be low on the totem pole now.
By the way, if you guys have me peeking up a little bit, there is the first baseball game going on. So I'm just checking the score out. I just want to point that out. I'm double dipping a little bit. But yeah, you're right. He needs to move on, and they have to find somebody to take that belt off in order to make him a lot more stronger as a character. They might as well just give it to Drake, though. So,
Oh, for sure.
hey, DGMC, are we still gonna go for justice or not? We already got a shot of the bow on Warren already for the Grimes cap, but I didn't know this, and it was really interesting. Did you know Lee was the 17th man to hold the NXT title?
No, number wise, I didn't, but that makes sense. I mean, as long as they've had it, and I mean, think about all the names such as. It started with Bo Dallas. I think was the first NXT champ. I think,
No,
or no, that was sorry. He was the first. Never mind.
no, it was
It started with
Rollins.
Rollins, but yeah, just I mean, you go back to Rollins, and since then, it makes sense that they're at number 17. So
It's interesting too because you have Oni in NXT and you have Dijak right now in NXT, two Massachusetts born and raised guys, and then you also have Sasha, Kofi and stuff. Although there's other talent from around the country and around the world, this kind of shows how deep roots Massachusetts itself has in this industry just in whole. A lot of people say like Philadelphia and New York have a lot. I mean, you can name a bunch of wrestlers and Hall of Famers just from Massachusetts alone. But
oh yeah.
Lee, the test of strength between Lee and them was really good. Hey, Timmy, um, these guys are like literally showing respect. This match was really good. If they didn't have the women's match highlighted for the main event, this would probably been the main event anyways. Um, Lee basically, we're trying to condense much stuff, guys, today because there's a lot to cover. Um, Lee basically them going back and forth, hard hitting and stuff like that. The spot where the swing net breaker from the second rope was really, really good from Lee. Dijak with a really good offense and stuff. You know, Cyclone boot with a pin. Lee kicks out at 2. Those chops are deadly, dude. Those are like deafening. But Lee wins with a big bang catastrophe. I'm surprised the Spirit Bomb wasn't even put on at all in this match. But these guys are incredible, and this segues into what's coming on tomorrow, which probably could be the main event. What's up, Pedal Ron? Or Ronnie? Um, we got Cross and Dijak tomorrow, so I mean, who do you think you got there for that? Because that's going to be extremely physical. I mean, Dijak has 2 really good physical matches. And also, before we talk about that, the whole tease of Lee versus, Cross also possibly for one of those belts.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Cross that gets the win. I'm more than convinced. Uh, yeah, they got to go with him anyways. He's the high hand. He's the guy you're wanting to build around anyway. So Cross will definitely win. And I expect Lee to come out because Cross will probably just beat him down, and then Lee will come out, is what I'm guessing. And I think I'm kind of confused because I thought Dom was called up, so maybe they just kind of have a better feud right now with him in NXT. But this is just short-term booking, I think, just so they can build Cross up some more. And I'm very curious to know how long Lee will hold on to the titles, because if he goes right into a storyline with Cross, and they're doing everything they can to make Cross look good, it'll be really, really interesting. That's why I think one of those 2 belts will go to Cross, and Lee will hold on to the other one.
I think you're right in a sense because I think Lee's going to hold the NXT championship and they're going to split the 2 and give Cross the North American title just to make it interesting. I can see a triple threat match happening on this one because, Dijak could basically coming back out saying that, it's not fair for Cross to do all this stuff. I mean, they have to figure out something to do with Dom because, either he's going up to the main roster like he was reported to be, or he's staying in NXT, or he's in limbo. So we'll see what
Yeah,
happens.
and that's the thing. I don't. I'm at the point now where I don't want anybody I'd like to be called up. I mean, I know we haven't got there yet, but I mean, you look at everybody they haven't been using on Raw, and that's why I'm kind of just, I'd say keep them there, but we'll see. Um, but yeah, I do think Cross will get one of those 2 titles from Lee.
All right. But so what I was gonna have you do now, because I didn't know if when Anakin was gonna show up, but you can talk about the GoFundMe right now because we can That's more important than wrestling at this point right now.
Oh, the GoFundMe for Wild Boy. Anakin started a GoFundMe for Wild Boy. Wild Boy is one of the mods for Fightful in the chats that you see. He's a really good person. He is one of my Twitter. We all know is really can be a weird place, but he is one guy that has always been the same. He treats everybody good, and he's always a pleasure to talk to. So the fact that he's had, we've all had a bad 2020, but I don't think anybody that I know could compare theirs to his. He's had a bad year with losing his mom just recently, as of I believe it was Sunday. He's lost relatives as well. Like within the past 2 weeks, he lost a cousin, and he's lost his father in the past 6 months as well, I believe. So he's had a bad he's had it bad recently, and I know right now if you go to Sean Ross Sapp's Twitter, if you look at his pinned tweet, there is a link to Wild Boy's GoFundMe that was set up. Anything you can donate, it would be really appreciated. But more than anything, we just want to say to Wild Boy that we're thinking of you, and we can't wait for you to be back.
I agree. One of the nicest guys you could ever talk to. Um, Him and a bunch of people called me the $1 million Fightful guy, I guess. But I mean, according to Anakin earlier, there was $2,500 already raised. So let's keep going. Um,
Awesome.
all I could say is, if you're watching, bud, we're behind you. We care about you. If you need to talk to anybody, you can talk to me also. I mean, I know how it feels to lose somebody that's close. I lost two people previously last year. I lost, my uncle, and I lost my mom. So I get that. So if you want to talk, I'm always around. I'm always listen. Anakin, you did a really good deed. Fightful's behind you. We're all behind you. Just know that we care about you. So, but let's get to wrestling. Get something a lot more kind-hearted. Something trying to make somebody else's life better or serious. So, um, Thatcher and that kid. Oh my God, his name's hard. I think it's Jornet. Wow, talk about like total mat wrestling. It's just insane how things are going.
Yeah. Denzel he is an athlete that um, he could be a huge star. I think him and Thatcher in that ring, that was that's what that's what it's all about for me. That's what I pay attention to. They had a great those two are great, and yeah, that's really all I could say. I kind of had a suspicion of what was going to happen, and it pretty much went on the way I thought it would. But I like watching both competitors. They're both really good.
I I think we've been spoiled recently with a lot of the mat wrestling style recently. I
Oh, for
mean,
sure.
with Thatcher, you had it with Brian and AJ a little bit.
Hmm.
AJ, Thatcher and Oni. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And we've been literally, spoiled rotten with these tactician mat style matches, which I actually like. I used to do amateur wrestling in middle school, and I absolutely love these style kind of things where it's just, move for move. It's like a chess piece here and there. So,
Oh yeah, for
but
sure.
it looks like we're gonna get Oni and Thatcher again, probably at a
I'll,
takeover sometime, and that will be interesting to see.
yep, give it to me.
Oh
Give it to
yeah,
me anytime. I'll
I
take
bet.
it.
I bet Sean's like salivating for this type of match where both of them were like going move for move, counter for counter. You know, I could see them doing a full pay per view like that if they had to. So,
Yeah, that's let's do it. Let's go.
so what's your opinion on Io and Tegan as a whole? Not for their performance for the main event yet, but as them as a whole.
Oh, they're fantastic. Tegan Knox is one of my favorite. Is definitely one of my favorites. Yeah, it's when she got hurt. Um, she got hurt, I believe, at a house show in Green Bay a couple years, or was that already last year? I think so. But she got hurt the night before I was going to be able to see her for the first time in St. Paul. So I was devastated. So I've liked her since I first got to see her wrestle a few times. She's she's charismatic, and she's awesome. And Io, what can you say?
It's
Everything.
interesting their journeys comparison what they were describing between her coming from Wales and Io for Japan, just the two different ways they got to this point.
Oh yeah,
It's just interesting to see. But let's dive into this match. This match
it's
was
awesome.
insane. Tegan with an armbar early to start. Tegan's got some technical skills that a lot of people don't down. They mostly look at the stuff from like the Kane stuff, the Molly go around that she actually added to her repertoire, and the shiniest wizard. So this girl can go. This girl is technical. It's like a technical clean early in the start, but Tegan gets a 2 count, but Io takes control completely off the bat. Um, these two showing their ring IQs right off, going counter for a little bit. You know, back from commercial, Io was in full control. Tegan's gotten pumped up, asking for more. A few uppercuts, crossbody. The fall away slam was pretty sticking to that pin. And that was an
Mm-hmm.
interesting spot, too. Um, but, Io gets hit with the Reckoning Ball, the double knees. Io rolls over for a pin, and Tegan kicks out of 2. Match completely was fast and paced, but we'll go all the way towards the end. The Io got into the trio woe with, Knox getting the cannonball. She got a lot of momentum going into this in the shifting. The choke slam she hit the choke slam, went for the pin, and Io kicked out. I mean, it's funny how we're going to talk about Extreme Rules in a little bit, but the 619 was attempted, and you know this match was unruly. It lived up to the hype, and Io still champion. So I mean, what do you think of how everything went?
Oh, this match was awesome. I mean, from the get go, they were just going like, Io was getting some like clubbing blows on Knox on her back. Just all the different moves that you saw. There was like the underhook double underhook backbreaker that Io hit. That was cool to watch. And Knox responded with just the inside cradle for a 2 count. Just the match went back and forth. One move that I love is the cannonball. And I might have said that wrong, but Knox hit that, and I don't know why, but there was just a little part of me that actually, like, I wonder if Knox is gonna pull this out, like if something's gonna happen, because they're definitely they're definitely worth the main event by all means. That would be a match I would put on there. I just thought it was weird. I thought something was gonna happen. Where maybe somebody was. I thought we might have seen a heel turn per se, but after, I mean, it just kept going, and it was a fun match, and those two were just spectacular.
Yeah,
Um, when she hit that double foot stomp, the running double foot stomp, and uh, and then she just plants Knox with the moonsault and gets the 1, 2, 3.
yeah.
It was a great match, and I enjoyed it. Just so much going on in that match, and like going back at it now, thinking of it, I kind of want to go back and watch it again because I know there's some stuff I missed in there. And if somebody can tell me if I got the name wrong. I think it's Cannonboard. If I got that wrong, let me know.
I think it's interesting that NXT is producing top match after top match after top match weekly now. For like we were talking about just WWE stuff, these matches are adding up and quickly. It's going to be really difficult to talk about coming towards the end of the year what was the match of the year. And I bet if you made a list just WWE straight out, the Boneyard match would be one, but all of the other would be NXT. That's going to be an interesting thing. But
I
that
don't know, man.
kick.
That eye for an eye match. Sorry, I can't even be straight faced with that. But yeah, no, I agree. I definitely agree. And the good thing is we still have we still have a few months of uh, of wrestling for 2020, so there's still no telling what we could see. I just know that I want crowds back, but we got to be we
Very
got to do the
careful.
right thing first. So, but yeah, but definitely it'll. I'm willing to bet an NXT match will win the match of the year for WWE.
But God, that kick. Oh my God, that kick. The kick that Dakota laid out of nowhere. I mean, I think they said that she had like a jaw contusion afterward when after Io got that the next day. But God, that kick was rough. And she took that like a champ. Holy crap. So, so do you think SmackDown this week was a redemption show?
Well, compared to the week before, absolutely. I would have think just in credits would have been a redemption show compared to what we saw last week. Um, that it was. I I think they knew they had to be better. At least I hope. Who knows? It was. It still wasn't the best show by any means, but at least they gave us some. They gave us Cesaro and against Big E. I think that was the match where they chose the extreme rule stipulation for the match. That was a solid match that they gave us.
I thought it was funny Jeremy pointing out that that whole thing was put out in March.
Oh yeah, the
The plug.
yeah that was crazy when I read that.
I mean, there's back to the NXT thing because DNJC said I can actually see them doing a fatal four way for the title with Rhea Tegan and Dakota against Io. So that
Oh,
could
that'd
be
be
a
cool.
possibility also. Um, anything is possible. But, Big E had control of this match. They go straight into it since you already brought it up. Um, this match was extremely physical between him and Cesaro. That's just, everything. Um, he was going at it. These guys literally make it seem like they don't like each other. But obviously, since we know from the pay per view, they won anyways. So I mean, they get the stipulation.
Yeah, and that's the thing that just shows how good they are. Cesaro and Shinsuke, they're they're great, and it kind of makes me wonder like what they would be doing if Sammy was still around. Would Sammy still be the Intercontinental Champion? I think so. I do, and then you have those guys being the tag team champs. It'd be interesting. It was a good match. Cesaro hit the neutralizer. um, that's how he won, and then uh, it was just a good match overall. And I remember
Very
like
physical. Very
yeah.
physical.
Oh, they and that's the thing. They're both physical, but they're great to watch.
I mean, it's also good after the match to see Kayla doing okay.
Oh yeah, for sure. Um, I'm glad she was on TV. By all means, it's definitely good to see people recover, and the fact that she's had uh, COVID-19 twice is awful. So I'm glad she's back, and I hope she stays healthy.
I think that back to the Shinsuke and Cesaro, we know the outcome. I'm not going to spoil it, but I'll give my opinion on that anyways down the line. But Corbin cutting this promo, The whole thing with him literally just digging into Riddle. I mean, at the beginning of the segment with the vignette, Riddle was digging in the whole thing, and it was just these guys know how to go with promos and stuff. I mean, Riddle calling AJ an arrogant jackass, and then Corbin later on in this promo saying, he think that Riddle thinks it's a movie, that he's playing with fire, he's gonna get burned. You know, Riddle isn't gonna say bro, just a little that he's not a little bro, he's just a little boy. These guys at promos are getting really good during this whole era.
Oh yeah, the one thing um, that that the Riddle just give him a mic and it's fun to watch like him go, and then Baron um, Corbin, he he was one of those guys. He was change the channel guy. Like when he first came up, I always changed the channel, no matter what was on. I would change the channel. But over time, um, I I sometimes still change the channel. But he does his job really well, really well. And the thing is he's so good at it that um, he's supposed to drive us nuts. He's doing his job, and that's what's it's hard for me to realize that because he's doing so well at that. But there's something about him that um, I want, I want them to tweak a little bit his character because I don't know why he has changed the channel type feel to me. I think it's because his storylines are so repetitive. I think that's why.
He's
Like
becoming
he has,
stale.
yeah, and I kind of want to see what they do. I actually really enjoyed his little feud. I shouldn't say really enjoyed it. I actually didn't mind his short feud with Elias, but I think it's because I like Elias so much. But we'll have to see. And we know Vince loves him because if he didn't, he wouldn't have let him feed dog food to Roman Reigns. So you
I
know,
know, right? So, did you get hoodwinked like I did for the Evolution 2 announcement? Like the
no,
hope of it?
I'll be honest with you. I was not expecting it yet. And I think even though I gave him crap about that hat, I think Warren said it last week that um, that's something I don't really want them to bring back until there's a crowd, there's fans, and the reason I say that is because I think it would be a bigger I think it would be a bigger deal if the fans were able to be there for it. I wasn't really expecting it. I know a lot of people were, um, and I guess there's still a chance because I know Sean reported that there is going to be a network special on August 30th. I think that's a Sunday, so I think it's a week exactly after SummerSlam. So we'll have to see what that is, but I don't see it being Evolution 2. But we'll see.
I can say this much with a straight face. I got hoodwinked. But I was hoping for something else. And I did put a hot take out there. I don't know if you saw it, but I was really hoping for a mid card women's title being announced, and having the tournament done by all three brands, and then a triple threat between each individual brand's representative, and that's how you declare the winner of the women new title for the women, which could be a floating championship nonetheless. But they need to do something to give these ladies a lot more to do, and it's right now with Charlotte not in the picture, Becky not in the picture, you're really leaning heavily on Asuka and the Golden Role Models. You got Bailey and Sasha right there. I mean, Nikki, it was a good fill-in, but I mean, if you have to put somebody as that fourth person to lean on, Alexa would have to be that right now, or Shayna. But this got me hopeful, and I thought they were going to pull the trigger on the women's mid card title, and that didn't happen. Um, you know, Bailey says Nikki's a failure, that she's going to lose on Sunday. It's just the usual stuff, and then Asuka was actually the special guest, and it leads into a match which was pretty good, nonetheless.
In my opinion, this is excluding NXT. In my opinion, there's three people carrying WWE right now: Randy Orton, Bayley, and Sasha Banks. Those three are making it want to watch TV for me. I know um, those three are outstanding. Um, and I will say this: a mid card title would be good if they do a tournament type thing, like the between the three brands. But something you said is you'd like to see that title um, be able to go like to all three brands. I actually kind of wish all titles had that option, but I know like the world title and the I think the Intercontinental title and the United States Championship should be able to go
Back and forth.
back and forth. That's what I'd like to see. But yeah, back to what you were saying for sure. And then um, as far as like Nikki Cross goes, um, she's fantastic. I hope they give her not necessarily they need to give her a title right now by any means, but I hope they keep giving her.
I was gonna say I'm not fully not agreeing with you. I think Nikki's fabulous right now with what she's doing. But I mean, if you have to pick four people to put the division on their
Oh
shoulders
yeah,
squarely,
yeah,
Nikki would be the fifth one out of the fifth or sixth one out of the runners up
oh
total.
for sure, yeah, I would
You
say
know,
that, and even and she might even be past that because we're not even talking about like Bianca, and that's because we haven't seen her. I mean, we've seen her technically now, but since she showed up on Raw, but I mean, the thing is, the women's division is they can carry the show. I mean, they really can if they they do the storylines and booking right. But that's easy for me to say because um, the shows just haven't really been good. But that goes all the way up to the person in charge.
I think the women's division clearly through all three brands. Sorry,
Right now, it's kind of been bland.
yeah, they've been carrying the entire company on their back, and you could say NXT matches themselves in the men's and women's, they've been carrying themselves.
And I just realized we weren't even thinking about Oscar there either.
No, I said Asuka is in the
Oh,
mix
did
on
you?
that.
See, yeah, and that didn't even come to my mind until now. So, um, and she's doing outstanding too. So, but yeah, you're right. It's. I agree with you.
It's just the only brand that you could physically say, other than out of the three champions now, since Lee is one, is the NXT brand that's men's side is carrying their own weight for the company because you're relying heavily on Drew, and obviously, rightfully so. He's and Braun is being Braun, which we don't know what's going to happen after what we'll talk later about. But it's interesting to see that something that years ago was not considered like a 2 minute, 3 minute, second match is now carrying an entire company, and
Hmm.
that's a big difference. But this match in self, Asuka and Nikki and the Golden Role Models, as Cole calls them, they point out how many days Bailey's been champion. There's a lot of mocking and trash talking in the entire thing, But back from commercial, Banks is in control during there. Banks with a 2 count, double knees to Asuka. Asuka kicks out, for a pin attempt. There's a tag with Bailey. Bailey connects with a right hand. Commentary is talking about the comparison between the two champions, Bailey and Asuka. There's a couple of dual tags and stuff, and the fun part about this whole match was Asuka. Give me Asuka and Nikki in a tag match every time, and how energetic both of them are. That would be awesome. Um, but Bailey picks up the pin, winning the ropes. So this match was pretty good. It made a lot of things interesting, but I'm just hoping that if you put Asuka and Nikki in there, together again. Just let them go together as a tag for a little while, or have a three-way and have, because I don't know what's going on with Alexa. You don't know what's going on with Alexa, so why not have them manage both of them for a little while? You know,
I'd be fine with that.
yeah. Um, Firefly Funhouse. I'm stuttering today. Firefly Fun Firefly Funhouse. It's basically like a glimpse of how the swap is. Bray says this is a place where the devil comes to dance, and part of you will live here forever. Um, that Braun knows that he has to come home, that he must control and destroy it, and then Braun comes out. And I think this promo from Braun is the most emotional, sympathetic, to a point, honest opinion of what his character is, that he sees it, and that the whole thing of him saying going home and that he does not want to see the Fiend, that he doesn't want to face the Fiend because it represents every bad thing he did. But do you think, like I do, that they tipped the card on who is going to win the swap match in this, with that part of the promo where they were talking about the Fiend?
I did see you tweet that, or maybe you made a comment that night, and I didn't really notice it until after you said it. But I was kind of expecting it. And I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but I was kind of expecting it because I have a feeling they were setting something up further down the line for SummerSlam. As as much as I don't want to say that, I don't want. I love the Fiend. I love the character. I just I agree with a lot of other people. I don't think he should have the title. I think he's a character that doesn't need the title, and that's that's what I'm concerned about now. Braun, I don't like him being the champion. He's just it's been kind of boring, and I don't really like talking negative about the professional wrestlers because I respect them so much, and that's um, but this title run with him has been so damn boring.
I actually
And
like how Braun is, though, but
oh yeah,
I think if they gave him what they did for the mixed match challenge and let him just be himself and go, it'd be completely different. But I think this promo in general shows that glimpse that if you give him the chance to do what he is capable of, he will damn near do it.
oh
And
that's a
guess what? That's what it is. It came compassionate too, because you made it feel like with this promo that he did that you wanted him to win. You want him to go over and face his demons.
Yeah, and it's like you said just a second ago, just let him do his thing. But that's the thing. If Vince and company let people do their thing, EC3 doesn't get released. That's the thing. That's the biggest problem is they don't let people run with the ball, and that's the biggest thing that's holding a lot of their people back by all means. But I know what you're trying. I know what you're saying, but that's just the thing where it's easier said than done because um, they're they're handcuffed to an extent. The only people that you don't see handcuffed um, are the ones that have been there for a while to an extent. I mean, going back to Randy Orton, there's no way in hell he's getting. If anything, he's getting bullet points, but he's doing his own thing. Um, and like the people that need writers, um, they haven't really been doing it. And I don't want to skip ahead again, but last night, if you see the segment with Ricochet, that just tells you right there, I'm the biggest Ricochet fan there is. And my God, that was bad. Um, but that's the thing, like going back to Braun, um, if they give him the ball, let him do his thing, I would love to see it. But that's the problem. Vince and company, they're not for that, and
Yeah,
that's a shame.
if you create people and let them be talented, then everything will be okay. But there's not really much to talk about this match with Braun and Morrison. It really is just like,
Yeah,
a couple of moves and then just being a rag doll and
yeah.
Braun
It's a
wins.
yep squash match. As they would say, it was over. It was over before it even started.
It's the same way with Lacey and Naomi too. It was just, real quick match, like a filler match for the show just to get it in there. And
And what's it?
Lacey wins with the women's right hand. But the interesting part that I thought
Yep,
was really creative was Lacey using Naomi's hair. You don't
yeah.
see anybody doing something like that. That was interesting.
The one thing that came out of that match more than anything is when you're in the when you're a wrestler, the one thing you want is people to talk about you. You want them to talk about you. This backfired on the WWE big time because people started that hashtag. They started the trend um, with about Naomi. Naomi deserves more respect. Something I can't remember what it was, but that was trending for
A
and
while.
yeah, and that just shows that people want people. The fans want stuff to be good, and it's it's a shame because I know we can't always get what we want. Obviously, we can't. Otherwise, we would get bored with wrestling anyways. But the fans want Naomi. It's not necessarily as the way Becky was, but this by any means. But the this really impressed me to see people, how many
How
people want.
invested they are with
Yeah,
Naomi, yeah.
yeah, and I think it's awesome because I've always liked her. Like I always like watching her. I think she's unbelievable, and I hope they run with it. I really do because they need some people. They do. I mean, like you said earlier, Bailey gone, Charlotte gone, or or not Bailey. I'm sorry, with Becky gone and Charlotte gone for a while. They need more people, and Naomi's one of them who could do that if they give her the opportunity. I really feel that way. Having her sing karaoke is not going to do that. It's not going to do a thing for any of them.
That's
Dana Brooke,
cringeworthy right there.
oh, that was awful. And hey, I'll be honest, she had a hell of a voice that night, and she won it. But yeah, I mean, yeah, they got to do something.
I I think that they're not using her to her full potential like they did a few years ago, and
That's
they
the thing
need
they're
to
not
do
using.
it.
That's what sucks is they're not using
A
a
lot
lot
of
of people,
people,
and and we could have a show just on that.
pretty much.
And that's what I just don't get. I just it's frustrating because how much I love this business, and it's it's kind of like let's just wait, and then it becomes too long and it doesn't happen. I mean, the biggest thing I'll say is I remember when Undisputed Era started, and I'm kind of I'm going back on something, but this just shows an example of how WWE does the wait. Let's just wait. We should have been able to have the Undisputed Era versus the Club with AJ Styles and Finn Balor at Survivor Series last year. It should have happened.
We should have had a
It's
bunch of other matches
Well,
too.
yeah, but I'm just saying, like that was a dream match for so many people. That's something they wanted to see. Just like going back, I mean, I don't know when we're gonna get it, if we ever are gonna get it, but the four horsewomen,
You read
we've
my
been
mind.
clamoring for that, and I honestly don't know if it'll ever happen. And the thing too is, I know a lot of people don't want Tessa Blanchard in WWE, and I don't really want her either. But I'll be honest, if they bring her in, are they ever going to put her against Charlotte? With, probably not, knowing Vince. That's what makes this. But I don't want her there because
I can see
I,
them putting Tessa versus Rhea though in NXT though.
well, that'd be fine. I don't know. And I'm this
But
whole cancel culture, and I'm not going to try to get political, but I it's one of those things where I just it's like
yeah,
whatever, it's frustrating.
There's kind of
But
two promos cut in between, by the way. The Hardy one was pretty good. The the two ones that in this one was basically to set up the Nikki Bailey one. The line out of it was like put Nikki on a leash, which is interesting to see. But the main event was a slugfest, so good.
and
Um,
yeah,
it's
sorry to cut you off there. Going back about how you said that Hardy thing, and I just want to bring up that, and you've heard it from a lot of people if you watch different podcasts or you read different commentaries.
we said it the last couple. I said it a couple of weeks ago too.
This has to end.
Yes.
This stuff sucks for Jeff Hardy, and that's the thing. People to know, oh, that's Vince. It might be Vince, but damn it, somebody say something because it shouldn't be happening. It really shouldn't.
It is garbage.
And I think Matt Hardy, and I think he said it on Twitter. If he didn't, I'm sorry. He might have said it on YouTube or something, but he said it's putting more pressure on Jeff, and I agree. It's awful, and I hope it ends. I hope they stop this crap soon. I really do. They need to move on. They really do, and that's really all I can say about that.
Yeah, Riddle versus Styles was really good. That's why, by the way, I was trying to skip the whole Hardy thing because I'm already done with it.
Oh yeah, but it's
Um,
just I kind of wanted to get my 2 cents in there.
yeah, I know it's okay. But Riddle hits with the running knee strikes. Riddle was in most in control of this match for the most part. Couple of series of gut wrench suplexes, couple of kicks here and there. Riddle showing how good of a strike person he is, and his background in mixed martial arts. A couple of attempts for the Styles Clash by AJ, but AJ did what AJ does. He basically takes control of the match and hits, you know, gets Styles in the bro mission and Styles gets out of it. You know, and basically Styles wins with a pin. This was a good match. This just basically shows why he is the best of what he does and he's still a champion. But the handshake at the end was a good setup for Corbin. So I'm sorry, but we get Corbin and Riddle.
Yeah, well, they as long as they just don't keep it going for 6 months, I think it'll be okay. And I'm joking there. I just I could see them bringing this all the way to freaking Survivor Series just so knowing the way they book things. And I will say this, I kind of maybe I was the only one. I was starting to wonder if we were getting a AJ Styles face turn a little bit by doing the shaking the hand thing, and then but it doesn't look like that's going to happen anytime soon.
It kind of reminded me of Cena winning against Angle and Taker going in the background when Taker was a heel doing the American Badass thing and giving him a handshake. It was kind of like the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah, that was Smackdown. It was pretty for a go home show. It wasn't the best.
But it was a redemption show nonetheless.
Yeah.
So you saw Impact Slammiversary, so tell me about it.
I decided to get Slammiversary because um, I wanted to see like they had some good matchups going, and plus I just kind of wanted to see what was going on. I'm a big fan of the Good Brothers, and I'll be honest, that's what got me to pay for it because to get the pay-per-view in the first place was because I knew they were going to be on there. Overall, it was a great show, and I'll just kind of go over it real quick. Motor City Machine Guns, they made their return to Impact. That was great to see. That was a Fightful Select reported that earlier in the day. So if I would have maybe waited and not known, maybe it would have been way better. But that was me doing it myself. Going, I know what I'm getting into by looking at potential spoilers. So, but it was still good. It made me happier knowing that that spending $40 on a pay-per-view, I knew I'd want to watch that match eventually. seeing Motor City Machine Guns versus the Rascals. It was a good match. It went by. It went a little bit longer than I thought it would, but it was a good match. Saban, he had a torn ACL, I think, sometime in January of 20. I think it was 2019, and it might have been February, but he had a torn ACL, and he the one thing that I noticed about that match, and is he sold it really well. He sold that knee really well, and it's good to see them back. And I know they are facing the North tonight on Impact. So, and that's going on right now, I believe. So,
kind of ironic how we're both going at the same time.
Yeah. And then, yeah, the did you want me to just go through every match real quick, or?
Yeah, there's a lot we got to carry still.
Yeah. So the second match was the TNA World Championship, Moose versus Tommy Dreamer. This is pretty much just it was a short match. Everybody knew Moose was going to win. They made it a little bit of a hardcore match. Tommy Dreamer went into the thumbtacks, which is nothing new. Moose got the win. Very easy match. The gauntlet match was for a number one contender for the Knockouts title, Knockouts Championship. You'd be number one contender. Kylie Ray ended up winning, so that was a good surprise, or not surprise, but that was good. I was happy to see her win. They had some really good talent in there, but the match was pretty bad. Lots of missed spots, which really surprises me because you get people like Tasha and Tasha Stills, and she did something that now looking back, I guess it's a good thing that I can't remember what. There was something that she did that kind of messed things up, and then Katie Forbes, not good. She was not good in this match. Jessica Havoc and Taya Valkyrie, they went at it. It was just kind of a big cluster. Overall, Kylie Ray won. It was not a good match. I think Sean gave it maybe a 3 out of 10, maybe 4. It really wasn't a good match, and I'm glad Kylie Ray won. I really like watching Kylie Ray. I think she's awesome. So that was good. After that,
what I get is Impact's going with all the hot hands, the internet darling hot hands right now. If you think about it.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, to an extent. But I think that's a good thing for Kylie and Impact, because Kylie brings. I think Kylie brings more of the internet crowd with her. I think because a lot of people like her so much, and that's good because I've liked Kylie for a long time. I've seen her wrestle up here in Minnesota a couple times at different shows, so I've always been a fan. So she's awesome, and I'm glad she's getting a chance to wrestle for the Impact Knockouts title. So that's good. After that, Heath Slater showed up and cut a promo. Impact doing what they normally do, screwing stuff up during their production. You could barely hear him. His audio was cutting out for me. And somebody said that they had audio issues with the house microphone, so I don't think it was my TV, so you just couldn't hear him. And so he just kind of said that he's there to do to take the world by storm type promo, you know. After the promo ended, I think they did a preview for another match, and then they went back to Heath, and he was backstage with Rhino, and Scott D'Amore came out and basically kicked Heath out because no guests are allowed, so they made it sound like he hadn't signed a contract. So they're doing that, continuing the WWE type angle where he's just not really wanted around. I don't get that. I think Heath Slater, I say run with it, man. He's awesome, and I hate that he's gone. from WWE, but I'm glad he's getting a chance at Impact, and I hope he runs with it and does really well. Um,
By the way, I ain't turning my hat back, Jeff. I got in the chat. I got booze because I'm wearing a Pats hat.
Gotcha. After the Heath Slater promo, they had the X Division Championship match. Chris Bay defeated Willie Mack to become the champion. That was an outstanding match. These guys were going at it. They were definitely going at it. There were some good hits, good kicks. Um, it overall was, I think it was my favorite match of the night. But it would have been a match. This match definitely needed a crowd. But it was that good. It was a really good match, and I would definitely recommend people to watch it, even if you don't watch much Impact. If you have the opportunity, I would definitely recommend checking it out. Followed after that was the Impact Tag Team Championships. The North versus Ken Shamrock and Sami Callihan. There was a pretty funny part. It was rather hilarious. Ethan Page got in the ring and flexed to Ken Shamrock, and he says, "Do you like this view?" And he said, "I bet you like it a lot more now." And it was something that he didn't really need to do, but the fact that he did it, it made it really, it was comical, and it was pretty good. Ethan Page is outstanding. He might be my favorite wrestler at Impact right now. I absolutely, excluding the Good Brothers, he might be my favorite wrestler. But the North win with double neutralizer. Ken Shamrock looked lost a few times in this match. Other than that, nothing really stands out. After the match, the Motor City Machine Guns come out and challenge them, and like I said, they actually are wrestling tonight for the tag team titles. So that's going down. Only two more matches left, I believe. You had the Knockouts Championship. Newly acquired Deonna Purrazzo, who came over from NXT after the releases, defeated. Actually, this was the match of the night, now that I think about it. This match was absolutely spectacular. This is the match of the night, going back. Don't get me wrong, Chris Bay and Willie Mack had an outstanding match, but this was the best match of the night, in my opinion. Just so much was going on, and Purrazzo was able to, after she was able to win with the double armbar submission, and she won the title. That was really good. And what was really cool about after this match is how much love she got from like social media, like people that she's worked with, and like from Britt Baker to Renee Young to Chelsea Green. Yeah, it was outstanding, and Jordynne Grace was a great champion too, and it was a great match, and Jordynne Grace did a hell of a job. So it was a great match. That is the match I would tell people to go back and watch. The last match of the night, main event, Eddie Edwards defeated Ace Austin, Trey, and then they were going to only have one mystery opponent, but they ended up having two. One was Rich Swann, and Eric Young. Eric Young made his return. Some good spots in this match. It was good. There was a lot going on, but overall it was good. One thing that I know Sean mentioned in his review was like the first thing Eric Young did was I think he did a pile driver, and he was already busted open like pretty quick into the match. So that's stuff he hasn't been able to do since he was probably, even before NXT, since he was probably at Impact back in the day. So he was able to do that. I think he was just happy to be there. You know, even though he didn't win, I think you could tell he was glad to be there. Because he got to wrestle. That's the biggest thing. Anyways, Eddie Edwards wins the title. There's so much in this match that went on that it's really hard to give it justice in just a short amount of time. But Eddie Edwards wins. After the match, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Gallows, came out. They kind of made it look like they didn't know who they were gonna attack. So Ace Austin and Fulton kind of looked at each other, and uh, they were able to pull off the Magic Killer. And basically, they kind of just stood up with Edwards after the match, and they go off the air. And next thing you know, right before the show ends, another EC3 promo started, and that actually closed the show. So overall, it was I would rate this pay-per-view out of a number scale. I'd probably give it a 6 out of 10. And I'll be the first one to say the main reason I bought it was because I'm a huge mark for the Good Brothers, but that being able to see a couple of those matches made it worth it, especially the Purrazzo versus Jordan Grace. The main event was spectacular. It was overall, it's a good pay-per-view, and if you get the chance to watch it, I would definitely recommend checking it out. It was pretty good. They always put on a good show, like Slammiversary. So yeah, so I know that was kind of quick and as far as the review goes, but I just kind of wanted to touch over the points and give you the match results. But overall, it was a great show.
Now we get back into the nitty gritty with Extreme Rules. I didn't expect Owens and Murphy to open the kickoff show until they announced it. But that match was good. That should have been on the show, not a pre-show.
The thing, and I agree, I know what you're trying to say, but the thing is, I would rather them have a match on the pre-show than not have a match at all. Um, and that's the biggest thing. For a match that wasn't announced, I'll take it because I want those two on TV on my TV screen anytime I can get them. The fact that it wasn't announced sucks, but the fact that we got it is better than not having it at all.
Did you see what Owens was saying at the end of the match after he got the super kick and the stun and Murphy's right against the ropes?
Yeah, he said something like, "You're too good to be in somebody's shadow," I believe.
He said it was circulating, saying, "This is a spotlight," and basically what you said, yeah.
Yeah.
But the same thing as like what Friday did. They kicked off with the New Day and the Artist Collective, which is Shinsuke and Cesaro. Shotzi was dancing in the background, which was awesome to see. We're not gonna go through the full review, but the double table was utilized really well in this match, and
Yeah.
you got new tag titles, a new tag champion. So
Yeah, that super power bomb was a spot right there. That was crazy.
was devilish. And then Big E becoming like a freight train for part of the match and stuff. It was a really good match, really physical. I mean, I'm gonna be interested to see what Cesaro and Shinsuke do from this point on and see what happens. But right after the match, Cesaro says actions speak louder than words, and which is true. Um, you know, Bailey and Nikki, we already foreshadowed this a little bit. Bailey won basically. Um, there were a couple of near falls for Nikki towards the end. Nikki on top again. Nikki hit the nip breaker on the outside, and there are a few near falls, but Bailey wins. Which is kind of predictable as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Over 280 days and counting. Firefly Funhouse basically was a throwback. You see the whole thing with the Firefly Funhouse?
Yeah, I did.
You see what
Yeah.
I said about what it reminded me of?
Yeah, it was like House of a Thousand Corpses. Is that right? Or are you talking something else?
Yeah, it reminded me of like the old school horror movie vignettes you would see, like
Yeah.
the late night ones. But also, when in the match itself, you'll see it, and there's one thing that's just standing in my head constantly because of it. It reminded me of a House of Thousand Corpses mixed with Devil's Rejects with I said it earlier. The movie with the two little poltergeists. It
Oh.
kind of reminded me of like a mix of all of that.
Yeah, and it also gave me like it kind of reminded me of Friday the 13th, the first one, with the water at the end. So when he comes out the final time, but that's skipping ahead. So, but yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Well, we figured out what an eye for an eye means. Literally an eye for an eye.
Yeah.
Just it's interesting how they have that fake eyeball all of a sudden appear out of nowhere.
I don't know what the hell they were doing with this. I just don't know what they were doing. They were screwed. I mean, there's no other way to put it. They 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 were in a corner and they couldn't get themselves out of by doing this match. Doing an eye for an eye match. So um, something that I repeat quite a bit. WWE dropped the ball. That match had potential by all means, but it didn't do it. And yeah, I wasn't a fan of it at all.
They literally took each other to the woodshed. They had like splintered kendo sticks, robar. I mean, if anything, they had access to. They tried, but
Yeah,
it basically ended the same way it started.
yeah, and I will say this: it was a good match, but the thing is that it was overshadowing it was just the eye for an eye thing. If they would have just had a normal match, it would have probably been a lot better. But whatever.
Just saying they're here. No, you guys are here, and I appreciate that. Obviously, Sasha and Asuka tore the house down. This could be the match of the night for the pay per view if it wasn't interesting for McIntyre and Ziggler's stipulation to make it interesting. But literally, these two let it all hang out, let it rip. There were a bunch of few near falls towards the end. It looked like Sasha hurt herself. That spot with the turnbuckle and her falling in between, that looked like it hurt. Um, but they're still trying to figure out who's the champion in this one because Bailey, being Bailey, tore the shirt off the ref, and I guess Sasha won, but Monday night kind of didn't make that easier.
No, that was their opportunity to even like start setting up if they are going that route, which everybody hopes they are. That was their opportunity to start building the Bailey versus Sasha match at SummerSlam if it happens, which I'm hoping it does. But that was their perfect opportunity to start building that,
Don't
but they didn't
remind
do it.
me about that match because it could have been where I'm from, and it's like an eyesore right now. They're
Yeah.
already showing the promotionals here in Boston. It hurts. It really hurts. But the smartest thing about this match was Dolph picking on this with Drew. The stipulation that it's an Extreme Rules only for him, which is really smart. But just to shorten the review on this, Drew wins with the Claymore. It was gonna happen. Um, like I said, I'm not gonna go all into detail about the swamp match either. I mean, it was a really interesting start where Bray's just sitting in the chair, rocking back and forth. Um, the snake being brought out in a bit. But I think out of this whole match, people thought Sister Abigail was already getting ready to be revealed.
Yeah, and I don't get that. The Randy Orton did that with their feud with Bray. Like that's when she supposedly died, um, or but yeah, I wasn't expecting it. But when they showed Alexa, I was kind of like, I'll be honest, I was confused. I was like, are they going back this route?
I was
But
like, holy shit. And the stuff she was saying, oh my god. Now, I said it reminded me of Poltergeist. And Jeff just pointed out the famous line, they're here. Her saying, come on, Braun. I know you want to come home with me. Please be with me. I know you want to be with me. Just come home. Like that monotone tone. Oh my god. It's still in my head, and the pay per view was like literally 2 days ago. Um, Bray hits Braun with shovels. They were throwing each other everything, oars. Um, but the red blood came out, and we have the Fiend coming out.
yeah, it was. I thought I liked it a lot more than I think other people did. I enjoyed it. It's for what it was. I knew it was going to be crazy. I knew that because I know how much Bray loves horror movies and how he has a close relationship with Tom Savini, who designed the mask that he wears for the Fiend. Um, so uh, so yeah, it was pretty much what I expected. Um, it's not the best cinematic match, and I'd probably put it right now out of the ones they've had.
Maybe
Um,
third.
yeah, maybe. WrestleMania. I really like Money in the Bank, so
The
I mean, I don't
Boneyard
know.
for me is number one
Oh
regardless.
yeah, same here. Boneyard and then Fiend versus Cena are my one and two, and then followed. So I'd probably say it's fourth.
For
I'm
me,
probably
with
forgetting.
camera aesthetic being taken in communications like I did, I think the greatest camera aesthetic wise, just angles and stuff like that, the greatest match ever would be number two, just for camera angles. But this would be third just because of the story that they build into it, all the different angles and stuff. Alexa being creepy as fuck. So I mean, um, but we're gonna have the Fiend at SummerSlam. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, I'll
Um,
take it.
gonna run through Raw real quick. Rollins promos talking about the events of the night before, about having his eye. Black comes out. They destroyed Black real quick, and it was his first loss in months. It's kind of sad. They should have put Alistair at least in a title match by now.
Yeah, that irritated me last night. And Sean said it too. I know he said it in his notes in Select, but they didn't even bring up that he was undefeated. Really, for the most part, like they didn't even talk about that. So that was pretty like.
Lame.
I mean, yeah, because I know the rumor that a lot of people were thinking was we might actually get Drew versus Alistair at SummerSlam. That's not going to happen now. Um, and I really don't know where they're going with Drew. Now after this ends with Dolph, I know they can't have Drew versus Dolph at SummerSlam. Um,
And there's no pay
but
per view in between.
yeah, so um, but yeah, but yeah, I what they did with Alistair, I'm not thrilled about by any means.
They dropped the ball on him realistically.
Which is
But
something, I made the joke like WWE, they have the then, now, forever. The other thing that I came up with was 50-50 booking. And now their new tagline should be WWE dropping the ball because they do a pretty damn good job of it.
yeah, I mean Shelton winning the 24/7 title, the Hurt Business having two out of the three titles, which. But I think the major pop, if this was an arena area, would have been Ali coming back. I
Oh,
was
for sure.
really hoping they would transition the hacker gimmick for him to Raw, but I guess he was. I was reading something about he wanted to be transferred from SmackDown to Raw because of Pritchard, and now Pritchard runs both. So
Hmm.
it's
Well,
kind of hard on that.
and what's funny about that is that was like the most talked about segment because Mustafa Ali came back, but it was also the talked about segment because how I've said it 100 times. I think Ricochet could be the biggest thing for this company. But last night, his promo proved that he can't do that. He needs somebody to speak. They need somebody. He needs somebody to talk for him, or
Give
he
him
needs
Malcolm Bivens, or just give him like I said
help.
this. I said this, and it sounds like a long shot. Give him his girlfriend or his fiance or whatever. She's Casey Catanzaro. I mean, she doesn't. We haven't heard her speak on the mic that much, but it doesn't hurt to give him a mouthpiece.
If Helen Keller was still around, she would do a pretty good job for him too. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's how bad he was, and she would just have to throw her hands up to scream. But whatever.
I mean,
I was just disappointed like with it because I'm glad he finally got back on TV and that promo last night, if it pissed Vince off, that might take him off TV again. I don't know. I don't know what happened the first time for him to get taken off TV for a while. Um, but last night that was bad. So
Yeah, no, I don't think MVP is the right fit. MVP is the right fit. Oh my god, I'm glad tomorrow is Wednesday. um, but I don't think MVP is the right fit at all. It it
no,
it wouldn't really work. But you know, 450 splash, Ali wins it. Simple as that. And now they made all 60 of these guys look pretty good in my eyes. Um, Randy talking about how he lost all his friends. Sounds like a little whiny biatch to me, complaining about all that stuff. Um, they had Christian on talking about how he's never been the same since that match. But Ruby gets her first win. About
yeah,
god dang time.
yeah, good for her. I was glad to see her get the win. I like how they're teasing that her and that she and Liv are gonna probably get back to being a team. I really hope that happens. I think it would be good for both.
I think it would work out pretty perfectly for that. It's her first win since she faced Ronda too. So um, these promos with Charlie and Garza, God, it's just so good.
Yeah, it was. They're always entertaining to me. I know some people cringe at them, but I think it's because I like Charlie so much. But yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah, Bedlam broke out for between the Profits and Garza and Andrade in the beginning of the match. Ford was quickening up the pace a lot. Snap suplex. A couple of great spots. The one spot that was nasty for Ford was the flip over that Andrade did on him. That was a nasty bump. Tagged for Dawkins and he got uncorked. Bulldog by Dawkins. Andrade kicks out. Ford on the top. The finish. Oh my god, the finish. That was kind of like a throwback. Haha, pardon pun. I can't believe he did that. I really don't. It was kind of like what Eddie used to do and RVD used to do. He
Yeah,
contorted his body to fit the other way in order to do it, and you only see them do it with this frog splash. And then
yeah, it
Ford
was.
does this. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a hell of a move. I um, actually rewound it to watch it probably two or three more times because I couldn't believe how high he got up there. And he's awesome. So that was awesome.
It's kind of sad that this next setup is Kyrie's last match.
Yeah.
It really is. But what a way to go out. We'll go straight to it. The Insanable connects on Bailey but her foot was on the rope. Bailey with the knees and the belly to back suplex. You know, Sane pins Bailey for the win, which is great. Um, McIntyre cuts a promo about asking who's his next opponent for SummerSlam. And turnabout's fair play. This whole promo was to set him up for SummerSlam with Dolph again. The whole show Orton thing, I just skipped that. He got punted. Sean was right.
Oh yeah. That's
Sean is right.
yeah. That I mean going to the Orton match. He we all knew it was gonna happen. I think the
Hey,
biggest
look
thing
who
is I
shows up, by the way, on command.
the one thing I definitely love about this Randy Orton is the best Randy Orton that we've seen in
Oh, God, in a long time.
yeah, and I actually love this Randy Orton a lot more because it's just fascinating and the whole the fact that they're kind of I mean you could say it they're doing the Legend Killer stuff again. He's taking out Edge, he's taking out Christian,
Who do you
and
think is next after show, though?
well, I honestly thought it was going to be Ric Flair, but I don't know if that's going to happen anytime soon. I'm kind of curious who they'll go with next. I don't really know. There's a lot of people they could go with. So I'm curious to see what they do. But yeah, this Randy Orton's fascinating, and pretty much what we
Really good too.
what we expected happened in an unsanctioned match. Um, it was good. He let Show get some stuff in there, so that was good. I mean, it was a pretty quick match, but um, in Big Show before that match, he he cut a promo too that was pretty mind I'd say mind boggling. The whole hammer and chisel thing that was kind of
Yeah,
weird, but yeah, overall it was good, and they added a couple little things to it with like Andrade and getting involved and Garza, and then the Viking Raiders came out, and that just made me sad.
I
I just lost my
I
mic. Uh,
I
that made
really
me kind
think
of
I was
that
gonna
made me
say
sad.
this too, that I really think there's a conundrum now. Now think about it this way: he's the legend killer, right? Does that mean
Yeah,
he has to kill himself?
no.
I mean, Orton is a legend.
Well, yeah, but you have to have a legend live. That's or for
I
I mean till he. But yeah, I mean that's the thing. I know what you're trying to say, but yeah, it's. I'm kind of curious to see who it'll be like eventually because it can't last forever.
the only one I
But
can
yeah,
think of on the roster is MVP.
oh no, that would be
That would
not
be
good.
bad, but still. I mean, Edge is out for 6 months. He probably will be back right before Christmas, right
I thought
around
he was.
there.
I thought he wasn't going to be gone that long.
It says 6 months. I googled it last night. It was
Oh,
saying 6 months for that type of injury. Um, I could see him popping up in as early as Survivor Series, and that would be a really good idea. But
hmm.
I really think in order for Randy to be the legend killer, he has to keep going. And that Edge promo a few weeks back kind of hints that they're still going to keep going. They're just going to wait for Edge to get back.
Yeah. Huh.
But so here's what the announcement is. A buddy of mine asked me what the list was for people to come on. I'm gonna say this: Sean Warren. I want to thank my buddy here, Rob. He'll come back again. Hopefully these people are watching. I know Steven Jensen said he would love to be on the show. Denise, Jeremy, Alex, Louie. But the main part of it is I want to have the Fightful mods on this show. You know, I want to have them have the ability to come on and read stuff and review stuff. It's out of respect and it's a good idea, and you don't see that often. Um, Wild Boy coming on here would be the first one I would absolutely want from the mods. And then Jesse and Hannah and stuff like that, and trickles down. Which we'll get into the next announcement, which is I can't cover every single thing. Right, Rob?
Yeah.
I work a lot of hours and I love doing my show. I love doing this show. And it who'd they beat? He's Sean. Um, but I can't cover every single thing. And like what you did today, that will be setting a precedent. Whenever there's a pay-per-view that I can't get access to or watch, or I can't split my time between, I'll have somebody come in and do a review. Now, this makes you, the viewer, part of the show. It makes you feel important, and it feels like you're a part of something. Instead of just typing in a chat, you'll feel like you're belonging into a show. You're putting your sense into it instead of typing it behind a keyboard. Your face will be on there, and you can speak it. Um, it comes to the point where I try to get a lot of good things for you guys. And I appreciate all the things. This past 8 shows, this is the 9th one, has been amazing. There's a lot of growth, and I appreciate it. And I want to thank you guys for all of that. Um, as time grows, the past 2 months have been great, like I said, but we can grow together, and I hopefully everything is great. Um, but yeah, those are the list of people I would love to get on the show. I have a couple in the works, but go to Fightful.com, go to their YouTube's pages, check out everything that's going on. There's Denise on Mondays for the Raw review. You got Warren, Alex, and Louis Dangor for the War, the Wednesday Night War. I mean, you've got Jeremy in the slot on Fridays and stuff. I mean, check their stuff out. It's really good. Go to Warren's show, Mr.Warren Hayes, on Thursdays, 9 o'clock. Um, tweet Rob at Rob Wilkins, right? Got that
Yep.
right?
Yes.
Tell him you say hi and stuff like that. Ultimately, the dream people that I would love to interview, I would love to talk to Sasha about chaotic wrestling. I would love it. It would be so much fun. Or Kofi or something like that. Just spread the word, do a good deed. You can basically tweet, share. If you need to talk to me, hit me up. Um, Also, be a member of Fightful Select. Sean and all of them do amazing work. It's great to see all the stuff they put out. There's one thing I do want to announce, and if it's okay with Sean, we did put something in a can that's very special. It is something I can't wait you guys to see. Hopefully, you guys like it and you support it. You know, and eventually we'll see where it happens from there. But hit the bell, subscribe, even comment. Any positive feedback for the show would be great. Let Rob know he's all the sexiest guy in the world or something like that.
Yeah, don't, because I know you'll be lying.
You never know. It's a compliment's always a good thing nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm good.
But other than that, be safe, be kind, pay it forward.
And before you say anything, don't forget, if you can, check out Sean's pin tweet for Wild Boy um, for the GoFundMe. Only thing I wanted to add.
Yeah, support Wild Boy. He's a good dude. All right.